This is the Dover Download Podcast. My name is Christopher Parker, and for the past 25 years, I've had the pleasure of working with, learning from, and talking to a variety of volunteer, staff, and community members. This podcast explores conversations, activities, and a variety of policies and programs which exist here in Dover to improve the community in one way or another. One of the things that makes Dover a great community is we have a lot of activities and programs throughout the year to bring the community together. One such activity is the Cochecho Arts Festival, which is having its 39th year this year, and Margaret Joyce and Jed Alec from the Chamber of Commerce are here to walk us through the upcoming festival.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Jed, how is it going into year 2 under your leadership?
Feeling good. Last year at this point, I was brand new and I did not know what I was getting into, but now I've got a year under my belt and, experienced the festival firsthand last year. And, after the festival was over, myself and Margaret and the committee came up with all kinds of new ideas to, hopefully improve the festival and make it fun and exciting.
So I think that's something I want to dive into because both as a board member, which Truth in Advertising, I'm one of the members of the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce. One of the things we've talked about, Margaret, is needing to continue to bring new life to our programs and make sure that they are not just a program that attracted someone 38 years ago, 39 years ago that still comes, but keeping it vibrant, keeping it alive. And it seems to me that between the work that you and Jed and the committee have done, you've really found a good, diverse group of activities and performers for this year's events.
We absolutely have. I still think it's wonderful that our core audience does skew older because I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to bring free arts programming to the people of Dover, no matter what their ability. All of our arts programs are free, open to the public, so we're very proud of that fact. But yes, having Jed on board has really breathed new life into the festival, particularly because he is a musician himself. So he's been able to cultivate a great enthusiastic committee. He has a very deep knowledge of the local music scene, and he's passionate about it. And that passion, we're really good at programming at the Chamber, but, none of us are musical, sadly. So this is something Jed has really taken command of and just, like you said, breathed new life into.
So Jed, can you walk us through who the Friday night main event is?
Absolutely. So we'll be kicking off the season with the Coastals. They're a soul group, fun, like soul covers. So that's on July 11th. July 18th will be Moon Boot Lover, kind of upbeat funk, high energy. July 25th, we're having 2 bands. It'll be split between New Nord and Donaher. Those are both kind of like power, pop, punk type bands. Then on August 1st, we have Harsh, another up-tempo funk group. August 8th is Toby McAllister and the Sierra Sounds. And a fun little note there, we had them booked for last year, but on the morning of the concert, Toby had a baby. And he was great. He called us as soon as it happened, and he basically had a backup plan ready for us. His backing band came and played, and with they just kind of switched around who the front man was, and they put on a great show. So we were able to make that night happen without skipping a beat. But we wanted to invite him back and give him another chance. Hopefully he doesn't have a baby again this year. I don't think that's going to happen. And then on the final night, we will have Wheel of Awesome. That's August 15th. And they are really fun cover band where they bring a giant wheel on stage. The wheel will have different slots. One might say the Beatles or the Stones or 80s or, all kinds of different genres. They'll spin the wheel and they will play, something from the category that the wheel lands on. So it's they're fun, it's interactive, and the crowd gets involved.
They are a great band. I've seen them numerous times, and they really know how to live it up, which is going to be great for the finale to really bring that energy. Every once in a while, someone asks why we don't do a video version of this podcast, and today is one of those days I wish we did, because then the audience could see, or the listener could see, how you were shaking and grooving as you were mentioning the bands. Clearly, there are ones you were looking forward to seeing, which is it's great to hear that enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're really excited about the lineup this year.
So, Margaret, you mentioned what I think is a critical element about not just Cochecho Arts, but other programming events, and that is that they're free and open to the public. Doesn't mean that they don't cost anything, but it means that for me to come and enjoy it, if I want to make a donation, that's great, but I don't have to.
Correct. And that is true of all of our large-scale community events. Cochecho Arts Festival has been free for the 39 years. Yes, there are opportunities to make a donation if you like. Apple Harvest Day, free and open to the public. And then the Festival of Trees, again, we don't charge. You can bid on a tree, but yes, there are a lot of costs that go into these. One of the things that we feel strongly about with Cochecho Arts Festival is paying the artists, just like any other person who's performing a service or who, these are talented people who have worked at their craft. They deserve to be paid for their time. So how do we make that money? It's through the generosity of our sponsors. And we're extremely fortunate. We have a lot of returning sponsors, and this year some new sponsors, which is fun. I think for the third year in a row, we've got the Orpheum Co-work and Apartments are sponsoring the entire Cochecho Arts Festival. They are the underwriter. And then our good friends at Rotary Club of Dover are the Friday night headliner Caesar Spot and the button sponsors, and I'm sure Jed will talk a little bit more about that. And then we have individual sponsors for each of the shows. So we ensure that the bands get paid, but the other thing is that we put a lot of time and effort into this, and Jed likes to get paid. We have a mortgage, so the city wants us to pay taxes. So yes, there are a lot of costs in doing this work, but we do it. We love it. We're passionate about it, but yeah, we do like to get paid too.
Yeah. So Jed, can you walk us through the buttons? I think that's an important aspect that Margaret raised.
Each night at our booth, we'll have buttons available for sale for $10. With the purchase of the button, you can get free waters at each of the concerts. You will also get discounts at a few restaurants around town. La Festa, Hi-Fi Burritos, Wingets, and Chaplin, Maine are all offering different specials or discounts to people who show that they have a button. You are also entered into a raffle, and on the last night, someone will win a brand new kayak.
So the kayak, that's different, right? It's been a grill in the past, if I recall.
Yep.
We don't have a say either. It's what we're donating.
Sure.
So yeah.
But that's a change. And then did I hear you mention discounts at restaurants? Is that new?
That's new. Yeah.
That's a great additional benefit to the button.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hope people will, help support us. It's one of the main ways people can support and go around town and get some good deals and
support the local restaurants. And a lot of our people do takeout. Chris, you come to a lot of the concerts.
Yeah, my wife and I we stop at one of the locals and grab something and then picnic while we listen to music,
which is wonderful.
And as we've aged into your demographic, it's been even better.
And we thank you.
One of the things that I was thinking about as you were describing the buttons, Jed, is you mentioned you could buy them there, but I assume that if I wanted to come preloaded, I could stop at the chamber and buy a button ahead of time.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what is the cost of the buttons?
$10.
$10.
And you can see the kayak if you come to the chamber.
True. Here we go.
Sit in it, try it out.
And the kayak also comes with a rooftop carrier and a paddle, obviously. So you'll have everything you need.
There you go. One thing that is also new this year is the logo. You've designed a new logo for the festival.
Yeah, we decided it was time for a little bit of an update. Along with the committee, we kind of designed a bunch of different ideas and came up with what I think is a pretty sleek looking logo.
It is. It's beautiful. I'm really excited about the logo. Yeah.
I know in years past, we've directed people to a website to see the schedule and to make sure that they know if there's any scheduling changes. What is that website that people should go check out for more information?
www.dovernh.org/CAF.
And just to give people the heads up, not that we want rain, but if there is inclement weather, do we just bring raincoats and umbrellas and suck it up, Buttercup, if we're New Englanders?
Well, it's not a bad idea to bring raincoat and umbrella, but if it's bad enough, we will cancel. But we're doing something a little different this year. Last year, we've gone to the high school when it rains. This year, we have built in 2 rain dates at the end of the festival. So August 22nd and 29th will be our rain dates if we need them. And the reason we did that is we've just decided when we go to high school, even though it's a beautiful auditorium, the vibe is just different. Right? Not a lot of people show up. And, I feel really at the heart of this, it's people want to be downtown. People want to be outside enjoying the summer weather. And it's just doesn't have the same feel when you're in an auditorium. So
Totally agree. You want that full package. You want to be able to sit on the lawn or in the amphitheater area and experience the live music outside.
yeah.
So we've talked about the Friday night series. How about the children's series? I assume that's still happening and a component this year?
Yes, it is. So it starts on July 8th. It's Tuesday mornings at 10:30. And we are kicking things off with BJ Hickman, who has been a part of the Cochecho Arts Festival since its inception. And then we've got Rockin' Ron, the Friendly Pirate, on July 15th. July 22nd is Wildlife Encounters. For those who don't know, that's they'll bring all kinds of different live animals and do demonstrations, let the kids come up and see them up close, touch some of them if it's safe.
Yes.
Then let's see, on July 29th, we have Steve Blunt, who is a musician. August 5th is Bryson Lang. He does a combination of comedy, juggling, all kinds of acts like that. And then we will finish things off on August 12th with magician Wayne Moulton.
So, Margaret, you mentioned that without the sponsors and the underwriters, this type of event doesn't occur. I've got to think the same could be said for the steering committee that exists. They don't just show up on the Friday nights to help you and Jed and the rest of the staff. They're actively engaged for a much longer period. What's that like? What's sort of going into? I'm assuming that you don't call up a band in the beginning of June and say, "Hey, what are you doing next month?" So how does that part of it work?
Well, it is a lengthy process. We don't just randomly call bands, and Jed can attest that there is a lengthy list of bands who would love to play at the Cochecho Arts Festival, but we only have 6 nights. We try to change it up every year and not have the same acts. We try to keep it local for the most part. We're proud of that as well. But the committee starts meeting.
But yeah, we started planning like for the bands and selecting the bands in January.
And you actively listen. They go through that list, and you ask the bands if they have a website or clips in there, so they give a lot of thought to having variety, and again, trying to give new people an opportunity.
So the committee supports the staff and helps go through selecting the bands and moving that forward. If someone wants to get involved in the future, recognizing that this year it's probably the committee's all set, but if they want to get involved in the future, is October the time frame to reach out to you, or should they get on a wait list now?
Yeah, I would say reach out. The sooner the better, honestly. So yeah, reach out to me. Tell me why you should be a part of it, what your experience is, and it's always good to have different perspectives and new ideas and fresh voices.
So to recap, starting the 11th of July and running through the 15th of August with 2 rain dates on the 22nd and the 29th, you will have headlining bands every Friday night with a variety of genres and a variety of ages and demographics to be desirable to come on down. And we have the children's series beginning on Tuesdays on July 8th with a variety of performers ranging from magicians to songs to dance to activities. Sounds like a full summer ahead for everyone.
And that's not all of it. We also promote other arts activities going on, one being the Dover Community Band, which performs, I believe, every other Thursday throughout the summer. And that's been a long-standing tradition for them to come out and do it. And they're terrific if you've not heard them. The other thing that we do is promote arts activities going on at the Arts Center or at the Woodman Museum or at the Strand. And one of the things we incorporated a few years ago, this isn't just a music festival, it's the Cochecho Arts Festival. So we put together a creative arts showcase that is free for artisans to come. We set up in Henry Law Park on a Saturday afternoon. That doesn't have a rain date, so hopefully that one works out this year, else bring your umbrellas. And the artists are free to display and hopefully sell some of their work. I do a lot of holiday shopping myself on that day. And we usually have about 20 artisans, and it's free for them. So they love it, even if they sell nothing. They've handed out business cards. And
Appreciate you both coming in and walking the listener through year 39.
Yes, year 39. And it will be an exciting year, Chris, because as we said, Jed brings some new energy. So new features. He's going to have lawn games for families and kids to try to make it more family friendly. And I am particularly excited. I know you're excited about the T-shirt slingshot. You can talk about that. I'm excited about Chuck-a-Duck. If you're not familiar,
Let's hear this.
you buy a you buy a duck, a rubber duck.
Okay,
and
not a real one.
Not a real one. And it will have a number on the bottom. And when we say go, you throw your duck onto a target. We have a big target, and whoever is closest to the bullseye wins the prize. We want the ducks back. You don't get to take them home because we're going to use them every week. But I'm excited about Chuck-a-Duck. But Jed is excited about the slingshot.
Yeah. So during the intermission, we're going to do a T-shirt toss. We have a giant slingshot, and we are going to ball up a few T-shirts every show and fling them into the audience. And it's our brand new T-shirt with our brand new logo, and I think they're going to look really slick.
That is so fun. It's cool to see bringing that audience participation in. And to me, the idea of doing the lawn games and things like that is perfect. It's something that people are used to doing in their backyards while they're having a party. It's just an extrapolation of that.
If you bring your kids and they want to go play Connect 4 while you're listening to the music, it's a win-win.
That's great. That's great. Anything else we want to make sure people hear and learn about?
One thing I want to point out on the children's shows is we're not doing rain dates for them.
Okay.
And we've always in the past moved those shows to the library, and they are very well attended at the library because we've got a built-in audience there. But with the library under construction for this year, our good friends at Stratford County Cap on Central Ave, almost diagonally across from the Chamber, are going to host the children's shows in the event of inclement weather. There's on-street parking. People are also invited to park at the Chamber. And as you mentioned, we'll update on the website, the Chamber's Facebook page. Again, we're hoping for great weather for all shows, but we have a backup plan.
Jed, anything else we want to talk about today?
One more new thing that we'll have at the Friday night shows is we will have a booth for what we're calling the Artist of the Week each week. So each week we'll have an artist there who can showcase whatever they make. I'll have a chance to sell their creations, and just one more way to kind of showcase all of the different talents there are in Dover and around Dover. So we want to give people a chance to really showcase their skills because there's so many artists here, and I feel like sometimes they're hidden in plain sight. So.
Well, I appreciate that you have all doubled down on the arts aspects of the festival and the community aspects of the festival, really making this a Dover-specific and centric event over the summer. Appreciate you both coming in, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for having us.
July is here, and we welcome July by recapping June. Here today with Erin Bassegio and Brian Early. We're going to have a quick chat about what happened this past month. Erin, why don't you walk us through what the planning board was up to?
The planning board had a busy month. The first meeting of the month, they approved a lot line adjustment for 3 lots on Zealand Drive, minor subdivision at 46 Rutland Street that created 2 new lots at the site, and a consideration of a TDR request was tabled at 25 Dover Point Road. That request was for 14 additional units on the property. There was a lot of discussion from the board and the applicant, and as well as some abutters, and that discussion was tabled until the July 22nd meeting. So there'll be updates on that project at that meeting. And finally, a CUP was approved to establish a residential commercial mixed-use district as part of a master plan that's being proposed off of Littleworth Road. This is a large-scale residential and commercial project, and this is kind of the first step in the process. This establishes this overlay zoning district to make it possible, basically, for this project to be proposed there.
Yeah, it's essentially the enabling legislation. It says we verified that the criteria are met for this ordinance to be utilized. And as you say, 800,000 square feet of commercial and approximately 800 residential units. It will be the biggest project the city has seen, certainly the biggest project this planning board or the last few planning boards has reviewed and acted upon.
And I think with such a large-scale project, one of the number one questions we got from abutters was, is this it? Is this the only approval involved in the project? And it's absolutely not. Again, this is step one for many approvals related to this project.
One sort of sidecar to that is that there are many approvals required through the planning board process and the entitlement process, but because a development agreement was signed on this between the city council and the developer, we added in abutter meetings and other notice provisions so that the abutters are going to be able to have some more two-way communication with the developer over the next 15 years as they plot out this project.
And that's a good point because those are additional opportunities for abutters to weigh in aside from public hearings related to approvals.
Right.
And at the second planning board meeting of the month, the board approved a TDR request at 11 Roosevelt Ave. That request involved going from one single-family home on the property, which exists now, to 2 single-family homes. A CUP and a site plan was approved at 180 Crosby Road that was related to a loading dock addition at the site and some wetland buffer impacts that were related to the project. There was a minor subdivision at 206th Street that created 1 new lot. It was a non-conforming lot size, which prior in the month, ZBA approved that lot size because it's a public utility use being proposed at the site. And a lot line adjustment was approved between 2 properties at Middle Road, and a site plan was approved for a large solar facility off of Crosby Road. And finally, a site plan amendment was approved for St. Thomas Aquinas High School. They're proposing a chapel addition to the high school.
Great. Let's pause for a second and then come back and talk about the other land use activities. But Brian, after 2.5 hours of public comment and then some deliberation, what did the city council decide on what's become the biggest issue before it over the past month, the athletic fields?
Well, City Council voted to authorize just over $18 million in debt bonding for the Dover High School athletic project in June, $2 million less than what the Joint Building Committee had recommended. The Joint Building Committee, comprised of members from the City Council, School Board, and public, has recommended rebuilding Dunaway Field, including the track and grandstands. They also recommend shifting the field slightly so the adjacent baseball field can be adjusted to create a second multi-purpose playing field. The JBC plans to have at least Dunaway Field converted to synthetic turf. The council held 2 votes for the project, one to authorize the debt and the other to account for the debt in the already adopted fiscal year 2026 budget that begins on July 1st. The City Council's vote comes after an extensive review that began in May at its joint workshop with the Joint Building Committee and the School Board. The City Council held a public hearing on the resolutions at its first meeting in June. The School Board also held a special meeting in June to make its recommendation. The School Board voted to recommend the full project and the $20 million funding amount requested by the JBC. The Joint Building Committee will now begin the process of creating detailed construction documents so the project can be put out to bid in the fall. The JBC's plan is for Dunaway Field to be ready for play by the beginning of the 2026 school year. Also in June, the City Council voted to authorize $420,700 for additional site work at the waterfront development site. The money will allow the city's public improvements contractor to remove the corroding steel plates that were added in 2007 as part of the river dredging project. In its place, the contractor will extend the granite toe wall that they have built along the shoreline. The City Council also renamed the Washington Street Bridge that crosses the Cochecho River by the Children's Museum to the Captain Jack T. Casey United States Marine Corps Memorial Bridge. This honors the Dover native and 2015 St. Thomas Aquinas graduate who was killed on active duty with 4 other Marines last year in a helicopter crash during a training exercise. The school board last month said a final farewell to Superintendent Dr. William Harberin, who retired at the end of June after 8 years with the school district. Dr. Christine Boston, who has been assistant superintendent, is now the school superintendent. If you missed it, listen to the June 24th Dover Download podcast for an interview with Dr. Harberin. And that's it for me.
Erin, let's go back to the land use world. What, if any, other activities have occurred?
Still some more meetings to cover for land use boards. The TDR subcommittee of the planning board met again in June. The focus of this meeting was on the relationship between conservation and the TDR ordinance. There were representatives from the Conservation Commission and Open Lands Committee to speak to not only the history of conservation efforts in Dover, but the relationship to TDR with those efforts. They also touched a little bit on kind of the Conservation Commission's role in reviewing development in the city. The Energy Commission met to discuss some of their projects that they're working on, the wastewater treatment facility solar project, and a couple items that also went to council this month. I won't step on Brian's toes, but the energy savings performance contracting, as well as the New Hampshire Clean Fuels grant that the city was awarded. The Master Plan Steering Committee met, and focus of this meeting was on a draft future land use map that's been created for the project. This is looking at the next 10 years of land use in the city of Dover. So the steering committee weighed on kind of distinct areas of Dover, identifying what makes them distinct, and kind of reviewing how the steering committee views them as potentially changing or staying the same.
I would encourage the listener, if you didn't listen to the episode that Erin came and walked us through the land use chapter and that process, I would encourage you to go back and check that out from last month.
And that will also be available for review soon by the public to provide feedback on that. Currently, we're asking for residents through Polco, available on our city website and city newsletters, to kind of give us an idea of what they think, what makes their area of Dover distinct, how they would describe it, what makes it different from other areas of Dover. That's really helpful when we're identifying the different parts of Dover. And finally, the ZBA met. As I mentioned earlier, they approved a variance request at 169 Spur Road. That's allowing the construction of a home within the front and side setbacks. And again, the variance request that I mentioned about 206th Street, that a non-conforming lot was allowed to be created because it's related to a public utilities that's being proposed at the site. And finally, the board reapproved a special exception request at 9 Maple Street. This is allowing the addition of 3 dwelling units at the site. This was somewhat of a long process. There were rehearings involved, tabled rehearings. This was the, final rehearing request related to this proposal, and the board did reapprove the request.
Thank you for coming in. That was a lot to go over. See you next month.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for listening to the Dover Download this week. If you like what you heard, subscribe through your favorite podcast aggregator. And if you have something you want to hear a topic on, let us know. Finally, this is just one of the many ways we share information about the city of Dover. You can subscribe to the Dover Downloads email newsletter every week, or other newsletters that we have, by going to the City of Dover homepage, www.dover.nh.gov. Have a great week.